Welcome back to Andertons TV. Do you recognize this man? This is Warren from Produce Like a Pro. Now,
ex-employee of Andertons.
Small world, right? So yes, I thought we'd start this video. Warren is in the UK for a bit. We are going to challenge Warren now in a blindfold. Can you guess, which guitar is most expensive out of a few different models?
I really want to do that because when I watch you and Pete do them,
you want to know.
I want to know.
Can you do
can
it?
I get it?
Yeah.
And also because we were talking about this off camera about the fact that actually some of my favourite guitars are the cheaper ones.
Yeah. Well, this is what I think you go into these challenge videos with. Are you picking your favourite one, or are you trying to work out what the dearest one is?
I'll pick my favourite one.
And the two are not necessarily always the same. But I thought as we walk, you're a Telecaster fan,
Huge.
So we're going to go and try and find 4 or 5 Telecasters at different prices, and then we're going to take them to the studio, blindfold you. But what do you remember? So when were you here? We were both very young, early 90s.
Very drunk as well.
very
my
drunk.
wife's over there, so it was a very prim and proper time.
Many a day of 2 hours sleep and then back trying to sell guitars the next day.
Yeah, because Patch used to live behind there, so I would often just crash there at 3 o'clock in the morning and then come back in here.
But what are we talking? 92?
1, 2, 3, 4, around that period.
When we were, I'm not even sure we were legally allowed to work at just 8 years old then, but hey. Anyway, look, what was here then? Do you remember the
I was 7. She must have been 5.
The counter was here. Do you remember that? Big long counter.
Big long counter.
All the strings and accessories behind
accessories, yeah.
I don't remember what we had.
I have no idea. Well, because the drums are around the corner, aren't they?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe there wasn't anything there. Maybe you just had guitars on stands.
What was in the little funny room at the front?
PA.
Was it PA?
Yeah,
or was
PA.
it music books? No, it was PA, wasn't it?
It was PA because I would sell PA from there.
Yeah, and obviously, I'm not even sure we had a door then, so if you ever did a demo, basically you just couldn't hear anything in the rest of the store.
And I used to love, we all did in those days, the ultimate, we're talking like early 90s, ultimate PA demo was Rage Against the Machine. Like,
What were you selling? PV Hysis and clusters and...
Yeah, because those Black Widow speakers were amazing, because if you blew them up, you could just strap on a new cone on it in seconds.
So, or did we have a counter here? We had a circular counter for a while.
Actually, I feel like the counter was further up. I think you're right.
You might be right. I think actually we had the circular counter. It was definitely here at some point.
I remember selling Jimmy Page's girlfriend a guitar.
Cool.
So this is like 30-something years ago. She comes in, and the reason why I remember it is because we had this kind of Spanish acoustic guitar with really super ornate, and I, like a complete idiot, started telling her, oh yeah, this is a guitar that Jimmy Page used to play in the 70s. And then she's like, I think her dad was the owner of Polygram or Polydor or something, some huge record label. And she's like, oh yeah, and by the way, my boyfriend's Jimmy Page.
Wow.
After I'd just been telling her about what they...
So I think this has always been a guitar section.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
This was keyboards though, wasn't it?
Oh yeah?
This was all keyboards in here.
Yeah, lots of Korg M1s.
This didn't exist.
No.
Because this has been built since.
Great.
Built on. The keyboard section is definitely... It's really weird, that I often think this with, be careful what you wish for with, digital stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you started right at the turn of all of a sudden home studios being able to go digital. So you
right on the cusp, yeah.
Right on the cusp. And so again, you went from this idea at the beginning of the 90s of instead of having to spend 50,000 or 100,000 on all the reel-to-reel and the big consoles, you could spend 10,000 and you could have a little quite good home studio. And then as it went through the 90s and got towards the noughties, it became like, oh, you just basically get it all free on your iPhone. There's no need to spend anything on anything. So yeah, it's like, that's why, this whole, in fact...
I think we're blessed, honestly. I talk about this too much, but us Gen Xers, because we're right on the cusp, so we know what we can fall in love with the analog just enough and the digital just enough and see the benefits of both.
And you'll know this anyway, in your world, especially of outboard and stuff. The big the real popular stuff now is the resurgence of
the stuff you could buy for $100.
Yeah, like
back in the day.
You know, of like this kind of the stuff that digital seemingly was going to make obsolete, but now all of a sudden it's like back and people want it. Weird.
Well, I think as technology's got so good at everything in life, now we're looking for humanity to not sound the same as everybody else.
That sounded like profound. Anyway, that's where we just were. And then this bit we've built as well.
I love that.
In fact, what we'll do, you can choose your most expensive Telecaster.
I didn't even know this was back here. This just keeps going. Because at the front, it's so similar, but where's all this come from? So are you now like in the next town?
Yeah, so if you imagine the building that's behind that wall is our video studio.
Oh, okay.
So
I know
we are quite far back.
But isn't this like you've built across the alleyway?
But literally behind here is pretty much that alleyway.
Wow.
So yeah, I think when people drive past Andertons, they see a relatively modest shop front that just goes back.
Goes back miles, yeah.
So come on, let's pick the most expensive Telecaster.
So it's another postal
from
code,
here.
is what he's saying. He has 2 postal codes.
I don't actually. You're probably right. In fact, you are right because the front of the shop is one postcode and the video studio is a different postcode.
Nice.
But only by whatever. Only because they're
cool.
on different streets.
It's cool.
So, Telecasters.
How many Telecasters do I get to pick?
Well, one from here, and then we'll go and find. So everything in here is going to be custom shop and
here's
thousands of pounds.
Here's the problem. I have to make it difficult. So I can make it easy because obviously a thin line is my favourite Telecaster. Yep. But if I do that and there's only 2 of them are thin lines, I'm going to know.
Yeah.
So I'm, even though thin lines is what I want to do, I'm not going to do that. The question is, do I do guitars with single coils or do we do, because I'm more of a humbucker in the bridge. That's what I love about it, customs and deluxes.
If we're going to get 4 or 5 different guitars across all the different price points, you just got to choose yours straightforward. I think this is a good one to choose because actually there's not too much lack.
I'm not allowed to touch it.
Well,
if I cheat and touch it, I'll know what to expect and I'll memorize it.
So this guitar has actually not had a lot of lacquer worn off the back of the neck, so it's not going to be instantly obvious that you're playing
vintage.
A Relic.
Yeah.
So how much is this? £5,000. So let's see. This will be guitar number 1 or the dearest one.
I own some expensive guitars because we've been blessed for people to give us expensive guitars. Eddie Van Halen gave us a guitar, which we gave to our son. But I have never spent £5,000 on a guitar.
Wow.
I'm sure you have because they come through your life.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds on guitars.
Oh no, I spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on guitars, but I've never bought a guitar that expensive for myself.
Fair enough.
So this will be an interesting
Let's
scenario.
see if we can convince people that it's worth it. Or maybe it won't be. Maybe it's all in the mind.
And I would never buy a gold guitar.
Oh, really?
No,
this would be my go-to colour.
Really? To go with your gold gold Lurex suit that you wear at night.
Yeah, and all my gold jewellery. Right, let's find something.
The 2-ish? 1500
so,
2-ish?
Yes, we want. Oh no, this is Squier. So where's like American? Here we are.
That's 2000 there. Let's do that.
This one?
Yeah. Are we doing? See, these are all maple though.
Do you think you could feel that?
I'm just going to touch the fretboard only. I'm not going to feel it. Yeah, you can.
Right,
okay, so we're going to stick with maple.
We'll find.
He's trying to fool me.
Right, player series. So like the most popular mid-price Mexican, 500, 600 quid kind of. So that's
what that is, 500 or 600.
That'll do.
So we need a 2000-ish, don't we?
Yes, we'll find. We might grab one out of the warehouse. What's that yellow thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do.
I love the look of that.
Grab that. We need a Squier. So that we'll go with this.
How much is that?
350 quid, something like that. Do you want to go even cheaper than that?
Well, yeah. What's the entry level?
Let's get an East Coast.
It's probably going to be the one I like.
100 quid kind of thing. Cool. We're going to head back to the studio. See you there. Okay, so we are back in the studio with 5 guitars. Warren has seen them.
I've not touched them.
But he's not touched them. I'm going to hand them to you not necessarily in the order you see them.
Oh, please don't.
I don't even actually know entirely that even I know quite what they all are and price-wise.
I don't know what the price
so
points are. Well, we do know one. We know that one there is the most expensive.
So we'll have a reveal at the end, but I'm just going to write down what you say about each one. And then we'll recap at the end, and I'm just going to ask you to probably just pick. If we keep this really simple, you just tell me which one your favourite one was and why. And we won't even worry too much about which you think is most expensive, least expensive. Or, do you know, we can just go with the flow.
Yeah, let's go with the flow. I mean, anybody who's ever watched anything we've ever done guitar-wise is like, my favourite guitars aren't always the most expensive, like I was saying earlier. And when I see you and Pete do this, I love it. And I'm just thinking to myself, would I get close? But I don't. I just want to pick my favourite guitar or guitars, as opposed to like what I think they are.
Well, I'm
probably getting it totally wrong.
I may still ask you which one do you think is the most expensive one at the end of it, and we'll see.
Mess it up.
So there we go. Right, come on then.
So VIP definitely doesn't stand for very important person. I can think of several acronyms, none of which could be repeated on camera.
And yes, it's always good to have sort of slightly more independent guests like Warren on, because sometimes I think people believe that we can see, or it's this, and there's. So there we are. Can we confirm?
I'm going to get it on as tight as possible.
You might get a tiny bit of daylight around the edges, but
yeah,
look at that.
Oh, okay. Now I've got to find the pick.
I'm coming in.
Okay, so we have got a guitar amplifier. This is very Warren Huart, this is. He's just a simple man. He's got a relatively clean amp, sort of cranked up a bit, so it'll be clean if he plays soft, a little bit edgy if he plays dirty. And we're going to start with this one here. He says, I need a guitar cable. It's right by your feet.
Yeah, you're going to have to plug in a cable.
That's all right. I can do all this for you. Panic not. And we've got a tuner on the floor. So
facing your voice.
There you are. I will now, I don't even know if it, I'm just going to check it's turned up. All turned up. I mean, you're going to have to use the switch, aren't you? You're on the neck pickup. Take it away.
Well, immediately I like this. I like this. Okay, so without seeing any, this is crazy. So, I don't know. I like this. To me, it seems like it's a little shallower on the neck. It's also nicely set up. I'm going to bore everybody by playing the same riffs all the time, because then I can hear the difference.
You go where you...
Oh, I like that mid. Now, they might all sound like this. This is just the first one. I love that I'm not seeing this guitar. This is such a great experience. That's when I saw you and Pete do it. I was thinking, I've got to do this, because all I'm doing is using my ears. I love the mid-range honk. It's got some weight to it. I don't know if that means it's cheap or expensive. Because I played Alder and Ash guitars, and they feel totally different. And I don't even remember which one's supposed to be better. It's a little clunky. Does that mean it's cheaper? How do I know? Whatever it is, I like it. I really do like this. I don't know if this is...
I really like this. I'm putting that down as the...
For a gig, though, it's definitely on the heavier side.
Heavy for a gig.
It's a heavy
What are you,
guitar.
a man or a mouse?
I'm definitely a mouse.
Right, cool. Okay, well, let's try the next one.
Okay. What's next, Lee?
Well, numero deux. I'm randomly picking things, so I guess I'm going to randomly pick this one. It's going to start you again with the volume up and the neck position. You still got your pick?
Still got my pick.
Still my pick. And tuner off, you're good to go.
A little bit lighter. Oh. Kind of slinky. It's interesting. I love this neck profile as well. I don't know if they're similar-ish or not.
You said it was slinky. Do you mean the neck is slinky?
Yeah, and What I'm saying is like, because when we picked the guitars, I didn't like flip them over and look at the back. So I don't know if there was any V-neck ones or any, you know what I mean? With some of those old-fashioned kind of 50s V-necks, you immediately pick it up and you go, oh yeah. And then it becomes like the bending kind of guitar or whatever. But so far, both of these are necks that I absolutely love. Anyway, let's have a... I mean, this either has more gain or the pickups are slightly closer to the strings. There's definitely a little bit more oomph on it, isn't it? Bends really nicely on those double stops. This is kind of
sounds
nice.
fatter to me.
It does.
I'm not
this
putting,
is nice.
Again, not going to put words in your mouth, but it sounded a little bit broader, if that's a...
It seems to balance fairly well. Don't think. I mean, it seems to balance fairly well. It's not really heavy. It's kind of a nice gigging. This is a nice guitar, and it's definitely got a bit more warmth to it, like you say. But that first guitar was really, really great. I want to believe that the first one was cheaper and this one's more expensive. That's what I want to believe. But I still love that first guitar.
What is that? I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, when you say you want to believe it,
because it's fatter. It's got a little bit more. There's a bit more oomph coming out of this.
So you think this one is dearer than the first one?
That's what I want to believe.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm
okay.
probably totally wrong.
I know. Do you know? I'm going to just make some
note.
sort of.
Let me go up the neck. Probably playing more lead stuff I normally would because I want to see how it feels. I think playing chords is just tonally like, oh yeah, all that stuff, but this... I don't know.
I don't know. We've only tried two guitars.
I really don't know.
Come on, give it back. Give it back. You can, if you want to revisit, you're welcome to.
I might prefer the way the first one plays to this one. I like this neck, but my gut is I would set that one up slightly differently. The second one, I think the first one had the neck I loved. I liked the way it was set up. It played really, really nicely, at least for my fingers. But then that might have an edge on the tone. I'd have to compare.
Right. I didn't write any of that down because I was holding a guitar, but
okay, so
I'll remember it.
So this definitely has a little bit more of a neck to it. Just a bit more of a, it makes me want to be like more Keith Richards. Oh, it's got some twang in it, and it's got a bit of bite. Bit more bratty. Blindfold is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, because there's no attribute to this Blindfold that I would go, this is cheap or expensive. This is crazy. I know we were talking about how much do we love it from our eye. Again, it's a little sticky. It feels really... But that might just mean I need to wipe it down with a cloth. These are like quotes. Warren
exactly.
Said it's a little sticky.
That's what I've got. I'm scribbling the quotes, man.
It's a great sound, though. This is great. Again, I hope this is cheap because it sounds fantastic. It's definitely got... But it doesn't have the power that the other one has. Or does it? It's tough. Again, this would need a little bit of a setup for me to be the player one, but pretty tasty weight.
Good for you, man. Right, I'm taking it back.
I think that's actually quite expensive, but it needs to be set up better. I don't know.
Oh, sorry, I smashed you on the knee with it.
Can you write that down? I could be totally wrong.
That was a good quote. That was might be the most expensive, but needs a setup.
Needs a better setup. Sorry, I think that's a big thing for us guitar players.
Might be the most expensive, or at least of the three. So
it's going to turn out to be £100, £100.
Okay.
See how wrong I am.
I'm trying to remember which ones I've even given you yet. So let's try this one. Again, everything on full in its neck position. There you are, sir.
Thank you.
Go for it.
I like this. See how
he's shredding today.
I just want to see how slinky it is. I like this.
That sounded like you said that with less conviction.
Well, I like this. This is very, isn't it sort of very Tele? It's got a little bit more in the neck here. I mean, look, they're all Fenders. I haven't played a bad Fender since something that was made in the 70s. And even my best Tele I ever owned was a 72. Again, it might be setup stuff. I kind of might feel like my fingers are getting caught in it. I want to say I want this to be a cheaper one.
You want them all to be cheap?
No, I mean like my guess to be a bit of a cheaper one. Hopefully, it just like I said, it feels very glossed and varnished. And I suppose probably like many of us, I like the guitars that either got the matte neck or they've been worn down a little bit. It's just more fun to play on and more relaxing. This is very varnished.
Favourite so far? Because we only got one more to go. So have you ever got a favourite so far?
I want to go back to the first one and I'd like to do 1, 2, and 3 again.
You want to try them again, yeah?
Yeah, okay, definitely want to do one again. They all sound phenomenal.
Let me at least give you the last one first, if that makes sense, as in the one you haven't tried yet. And then we'll do a little recap of whichever one you want to try again, just to sort of get your what do you really like.
Yeah, I think this has been 3, it'd be easier, but 5 is definitely my brain's frying.
Yes, 5, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah. I agree, it's hard.
All right, well, nice neck. Ooh, definitely some body. See, I don't know if this is cheap or expensive, but it's better set up. So if we're learning anything from my perception is like, depending on how the guitar's set up, maybe for that person, also gives you a perception of how good something is. They all do sound fantastic. I mean, I don't think there's been a bad sounding guitar. So
you'd hope not with the Tele, wouldn't you? It's hard to get it wrong, I think.
What's the cheapest price of one of these?
Of all the 5 that we've had today, well, one of them is 120 quid, and one of them is
120 quid.
One of them is.
Wow.
Sorry, I tell a lie. My colleague is saying one of them is actually £99, and the others, and the dearest one is 5,000, and they kind of go anything in between.
Wow.
Move to your right again. You're heading. You're focusing on my voice. But...
This is great. I want to believe it's one of the cheaper ones. Again, I know I've said that before. Just because of the kind of a glossier finish. It's light. It could potentially be headstock heavy a little bit. So I hope it's one of the cheaper ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I
it's
do.
not bad. If this is a cheaper guitar, it's beautiful. I do like this one a lot. Again, like I said, I tend to like the sort of. I always think of myself as like a junior, a Les Paul Junior, or a base model Telecaster or something like that. Those are the things I usually gravitate towards. Not fancy with binding and gold and stuff like that. You, on the other hand, do like the sparkling gold, as we know.
I think there's, again, you're talking about how you allow your eyes and
I agree.
how you want your guitar, I nearly said your instrument then, which could have been perceived as something else, how you want your
Like
guitar
VIP.
to reinforce the image you're trying to convey. And if your image is that's why relic guitars exist. If your image is to have something a bit disheveled and beaten up looking, because that's kind of cool with your, 3-day beard, then, you're not going to look right with a brand new PRS spangly gold hardware thing, whereas maybe if you have whatever. So look.
No, I agree.
So that's the fifth one.
I like this. I really do hope this is in the cheaper area. It's a really nice guitar though. The tone is fantastic.
So what do you want to try again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, any of them, all of them?
Can I try one again?
Yes, you can. Thank you, sir.
One thing's for certain, not one of those is a bad guitar, which is insane when one of them's not.
Numero uno coming in. There you are.
See if I still like this. This is the heaviest by far. I can't tell. Is it a flatter radius? It just feels flatter. I could be wrong, but I love the neck. I love I had a California series Telecaster, which was one of the ones that was. Do you remember those ones?
Yes, I do.
It was really good. It was half Mexican and half USA made.
Correct.
And that I bought for $475 at Guitar Center in 1998 or 99. And it was a wonderful guitar. And it was like American parts assembled in Mexico cheaper. And that was my favorite Telecaster I ever played. I love the tone of this. This definitely speaks to me. It's still my favorite. Can I hear the third one?
Yes, you can. I had to try and remember which one the third one was for a second there, but go on then, unplug.
Yeah, this is a that's.
There you are.
Isn't it funny you gave me the first one as the one I like most?
Well, don't know. Maybe I knew. Maybe I just knew psychically that was what it was going to be.
This is authoritative, bit slightly more body in the neck. Yeah, definitely a little sticky. I hope this isn't one of the really expensive ones. And then 2, please.
Number two coming in. There you are, sir. Oh, sorry. I should have used the tuner there, shouldn't I? I'll just shoot.
Right.
Are we in?
There's no sustain on this like there is on the others, and I don't know if that's a... You know what I mean? Didn't we at the time think it had more mid-range, didn't we? We thought it was a little low mid. Maybe it's the neck pickup positioning or something. I like it. I think number 1's still my favourite. Anything else you remember me quoting?
I'll recap.
Okay.
You might as well leave that on your lap. So,
okay.
Number 1, you
said
said, immediately I like it. Shallow neck. I like the mid-range on the bridge pickup. It's got some weight. I really like this.
Heavy,
and then you did say,
heavy.
yeah, maybe it's a bit heavy if I'm gigging. And I accused you of being a man girl.
Being a man or a mouse. I am a mouse.
Number 2, you said it's a little bit lighter, sticky neck, more oomph. Maybe the pickups are higher. We haven't checked that yet. Do you think it's
definitely the neck? This is 2, yeah.
Yeah, you think it's dearer than the first one, and then but then actually when you tried it the second time round, you started going, no, it doesn't really sustain. So
yeah,
I don't know whether you still think it's dearer than the first one or not. Don't know.
I don't know. It's definitely.
Numero 3, you went, it's got more of a neck. You said it's Keith Richards. And then you went, it's more bratty. I don't even know what that means, but that's what you said.
Well, if it's got like a, with the Telecasters for me, some of those like, can be really, you've played those Teles that are super hyped. They've got super high end, sometimes really kind of painfully kind of, you know what I mean? That kind of
super zingy.
Yeah, zingy. There you go, that's a better word.
Then you said it had a sticky neck, and then what did you say? I can't read my own writing.
Probably
now.
just high gloss.
I
would have taken sandpaper to it.
This might be the most expensive one, but it does need a setup. Then you said, I hope it's cheap, and you went, it's great sound. So I don't know what that means.
None of these are bad. Which
then
is ridiculous.
we tried this one over here, which you can't see, but the audience can. And you went, oh, I like this. It's very Tele. A little bit more in the neck. I'm hoping this is cheap again, is what you said. And then the final one, you said, oh, nice neck. Somebody could be cheap or expensive.
Yeah.
But it's well set up. And then you just went, they all sound great. And then the recurring theme here is I want to believe this is cheaper. And you did say it felt a bit headstock heavy.
Which was the one that I thought was the most expensive, though. I feel like...
I'm not sure you really nailed your
there
colours
was
to
one
the
that I
mast
thought was
there.
the most expensive. Was it 3?
I think the only one that you really made a reference to about you thought it might be the most expensive was number 3.
Can I try 3 again?
Of course you may.
Felt like...
There you are. This is the one that you also said you felt
this is the one I thought that was most expensive.
Okay, so
it's super...
Do you want a cable or not?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Here you are. There's a cable for you.
It definitely feels like...
Swivel to your right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I would say... God, I hope this is the most expensive. It feels really super solid. It's got a very classic kind of Telecaster neck. A little bit more of that to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, look. I'm holding you now a dirty cloth. Give the back of the neck the rub that you want, because maybe that does make a difference.
Yeah. This I think is the expensive one. For it turned out to be the $99 one. No, this is the one I think is the most expensive one.
But not your favourite, right?
But not my favourite.
Number one is
still my favourite.
Okay.
I don't know what it was about that neck, and probably the setup. So, which is nice to know, because if it is cheap, it's nice to know that cheap guitars are set up well. All right, put me out of my misery.
Okay, well look, I'm going to take the guitar back off you, and then I'm going to let you take your blindfold off, and to a certain extent, you're going
to humiliate me.
No, take your blindfold off. Okay.
Oh God, it's bright. Woo!
Here
that
are
works.
the other 2 guitars. Just going to make sure you can kind of firmly see them. Woo! So
the blindfold works, everybody. Okay. Jeez.
Right. So,
which is the one I loved?
I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm going to tell you which is the one that you hope you love.
Oh, well, the one. If I was looking at them all, this would actually not be the one I would pick, because all joking aside, I would never play a gold guitar, and also I'd want to be the one that relics them. I'd want to be the one that beats them up. That's just me. I'd like to be up.
Fine.
Don't get me wrong.
Fine. No, it's fine. There's like 80% of our audience agreeing with you at the moment, so it's fine.
Oh no, I don't.
It's the populist anti-relic vote, but there we are.
No. That's not my theory. I just love playing guitar. I want to beat it up myself. That's all. But
so come on.
It's the colour. That's actually the number one thing. I wouldn't go with the colour.
So which one do you hope?
Well, this is the one. I don't know if I hope or not, but this is the one that yellow maybe is a little screaming, but classic Telecaster. I love this black logo. I love the simplicity of it. That's the one that if I got into my head and I couldn't play any of them and I could pick one, I'd go, I want to buy that one. So that would be my favourite from a perspective of what it looks like and what it says. It says bog standard Telecaster.
So, shall we reveal, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so
this is the one I like best.
Let's just throw a few things in here. The gold one was the one you thought was the most expensive. It is the most expensive.
Okay.
Interestingly, what's nice on that, because it's got the nitro lacquer on the neck, the more you play that, the more it will wear.
Okay, so that probably makes
sort of
sense.
start to sort of feel maybe slightly smoother.
Yeah.
The purple one was one that you really liked. That was actually the second one you tried.
That was good. How much is that?
$350-ish, something like that. That was the one that you kind of, I think you liked it more on the first pass than you liked on the second pass. I think you were sort of saying, you said something like maybe it didn't sustain as well, and that maybe, that was the one I think you were saying maybe was the neck pick up in a different position or whatever. Obviously it's not. I'm afraid to say, Mr. Huart, I think this is probably the one you like the least out of them all. I mean,
for looks.
You didn't.
There you go.
You didn't really dislike any of them, but I felt this was the one that I've made
what
the
number
sort
was
of
that?
least notes. This was number 4.
Yeah, 4 I just kind of glossed over, didn't I? I know. I remember 4 didn't. Look, they all sounded fantastic, but 4 was the one that I was like, yeah.
So which do you think out of the £100 one and the, I can't remember now, about 600 quid one, do you think 700 quid?
I think this is the one I like.
Which do you think?
Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Okay, good, yeah.
So now I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
interesting as well, because
Yeah.
when you started describing the California Tele that you got, that's probably the closest. It's Mexican.
There you go.
But it's
Confirmation
probably the
bias.
closest.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Something I love, and I've got it again. And I had the rosewood down the back. The neck wasn't quite as glossy, so it doesn't feel
Yeah.
sticky on mine.
Yeah, that's a feature of Player. So they're not going for a vintage spec Tele here. It's a lacquered fretboard, but the back of the neck is completely satin. Obviously, it's not got a vintage style bridge on it. Didn't really talk about the bridge, but it's a modern style bridge.
Yeah.
It'll have 60s kind of voiced pickups on it for sure. And all, as you've probably seen from this demo, all Telecasters have a flavour that, you know,
They all sounded great.
you know, there's not, they all sounded pretty similar. But anyway, there you go.
Well, which is the one that I actually thought was the cheapest? Was it the cheapest?
Again, it was hard to tell from what you were saying, but possibly
What number was that?
that was the 5th one, the last
Right, yeah,
one.
that was what I thought was the cheapest. That's good.
Yeah, still pretty amazing for
Oh
100
God,
quid,
no,
though.
yeah, because it took some playing around to like start bending around and start feeling how it felt to realise it. So interesting. So that was number 2.
No, this was number 4. That was 2.
Sorry, that was number 2.
Yeah, so you went 1,
And how much is number 2?
350, 400, something
And how
like
much
that.
is this?
700.
Okay.
See, it's when we were talking again before camera, Warren and I were talking about kind of like those diminishing laws of returns in guitars and what's the sweet spot where you get the most bang for your buck. And
It's this price range.
I'd said it was, in my opinion, it was in that £500 to £1,000
Which is
price
exactly
range.
what this is.
It's pretty much the only one that's in that price range of what we've got. So
Proof of the pudding is in the eating.
yeah, so there we are. So you, in terms of price, that was the cheapest, then this one, then that one, then this one, then the gold one.
So I think, just to call myself out, confirmation bias. I already, Telecaster, don't like a high glossy neck. I think I mentioned that quite a few times. This is like, doesn't have the high gloss. It already feels like you've been playing it for a few years.
Yeah.
It sounded fantastic. That was a great sounding. I don't know if there was a bad sounding guitar.
There was, I mean, there really wasn't. And again, if there's anything that we talk over and over again, you know, if you give a really good guitar player anything that's half decent, you'll get a tone out of it. And I think you demonstrated that actually, you know, you ably did that.
But
So-
it is nice to know that sweet spot of a price range is actually true.
Well, although bizarrely, of course, you didn't know the prices as you were trying them,
No.
so that can't have affected anything. So
Nope.
it's almost just like, anyway, look, thank you very much for joining us. Warren, I'm sure, will be in 1 or 2 videos on this channel over the next few weeks, if he hasn't already been. Yes, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time. There we are. Bosh, perfect.
The stealing the guitar part at the end there, I think.
Absolutely. There you go. So...